What's going on, guys? Vegito here, and I welcome you to the very first video on the Potara Podcast. Now, for any new viewers who may not know what the Potara Podcast is about, I'll go ahead and explain. For those of you that listened to the initial update about the Potara Podcast that I made in What If Cynthia sponsored Ash over on the Vegeta What Ifs channel, well, back in August, this is a podcast to help me branch out into different types of content besides Pokemon What Ifs. Now, before we move any further, I'm just going to say this right now, so I don't get a million questions about it later. I will not be doing any Pokemon stories on the Potara Podcast. Since what would be the point of making a second channel for other shows if I just bring our Pokemon What Ifs? Since, like what happened on the Vegeta What Ifs channel, the Pokemon What Ifs are massively overshadowed the other shows. And soon, I get fans over here that are here for Pokemon What Ifs and Pokemon What Ifs only. So just to save me a lot of grief in the long run, Pokemon What Ifs will be staying exclusively on the Vegeta What Ifs channel. Now, when that little rant is over, on to our next topic, being what sort of shows could get stories, and what other sorts of content can you guys expect from this channel? Well, let's get into that, shall we? The Potara Podcast will cover, in terms of what ifs, the following shows: My Hero Academia, Dragon Ball, Naruto, Yu-Gi-Oh!, Demon Slayer, Ben 10, Marvel, Stranger Things, Cobra Kai / The Karate Kid, Harry Potter, and Power Rangers. Plus, who knows, I might cover some other video game franchises for What Ifs, such as Sonic, Mario, and Five Nights at Freddy's, just to name a couple of examples. Now, on to some other types of content you guys can expect to see in terms of potential content. The first I'll be covering today is something I discussed previously in What If Cynthia sponsored Ash, and my community tab on the Vegeta What Ifs channel, being my very own cooking show titled Vegito's Kitchen, where I'll be showing you guys how you can make some of your favorite recipes from my stories, along with some other stuff that I'll probably come up with as the show goes on. The second of these are interviews or discussions with other content creators, which I think could be rather fun. Now, on to the next topic, and unfortunately, our last topic of discussion for today, being that I've prepared some sneak peeks for the first two What Ifs coming to this channel as kind of a reward for any viewers who decide to watch all the way until the end of this discussion. Now, for the first sneak peek, I prepared a short excerpt from the first What If coming to this channel, being What If Pegasus was Jaden's dad? We arrive in the time of Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, where we see a Jaden dueling a boy in an almost blue jacket, this being Chaz Princeton, with the duel beginning now. Jaden and Chaz draw 5 cards, with Chaz letting Jaden go first. As Jaden draws and plays Polymerization, Jaden fuses from his hand Elemental Heroes Heat and Ice Edge to summon Elemental Hero Absolute Zero. Jaden also sets Elemental Hero Clayman in defense mode and sets its Hero Barrier in his Spell and Trap card zone, ending his turn. Chaz draws out his next card and plays it, revealing Pot of Greed. Chaz draws 2 cards, Wide Dragon Head and Double Summon. Chaz activates Frontline Base and normal summons X-Head Cannon. Chaz activates his Double Summon and normal summons Y Dragon Head to the field. This allows Chaz to activate Frontline Base's effect, allowing him to special summon a Union monster from his hand, being his trusty Z Metal Tank. Chaz then banishes his X-Head Cannon, Y Dragon Head, and Z Metal Tank to summon his XYZ Dragon Cannon. Chaz activates his Dragon Cannon special ability, allowing him to discard V Tiger Jet from his hand to destroy Jaden's face down card. Chaz then has XYZ Dragon Cannon attack Jaden's face down elemental hero Clayman, destroying it. Chaz ultimately ends his turn. Jaden then proceeds to draw his next card, with him being visibly excited at the card. Alright guys, what did you think of that excerpt of Jaden Pegasus? Let me know in the comments below. Now, to end off this video, I have one more short excerpt for show 42nd What If coming to the Potara Podcast channel. And this is one I've been extensively talking about in updates regarding the Potara Podcast, being the Potara Podcast's very own passion project and possibly the most ambitious project on both of my channels, being what if I wrote the Marvel Cinematic Universe? Now, before we jump into the sneak peek, I'll go ahead and give some context behind this what if scenario. Basically, I'm going to be trying to write out the Marvel Cinematic Universe if Marvel never went bankrupt in the 90s and sold off the film rights to all their characters. So that means we'll have access to characters like Spider-Man, the Fantastic Four, the X-Men, and full access to the Hulk and Namor from off the start, along with all the other Marvel favorites. Now, so with that context out of the way, let's get into the sneak peek. You're right. Spider-Man, Sins of Heroism. We arrive in New York on a nice, sunny Wednesday morning, with Peter deciding to fight some crime with Spider-Man on his way to school. Spider-Man swings through the city and sees a man with some weird gauntlets on his arms, trying to rob a bank. We know him as Herman Schultz, aka the Shocker, with Peter seeing him try to get away, with Spider-Man using his webs to go after him, chasing him on rooftops, through buildings, and even on the street, with Spider-Man managing to corner Shocker and say, "Hey there, I'm Spider-Man, you can call me a webhead, you can call me amazing, just don't call me life in, get it?" Shocker uses his gauntlet to try and send out some shockwaves at Spider-Man, with Spider-Man using his spider sense to dodge and shoot some webs out one of his gauntlets to wet them up, to disable it temporarily, with Spider-Man figuring out that Shocker's suit must be what's preventing him from taking any recoil damage on the shockwaves his gauntlets unleash. So Spidey decides to shoot a few webs at Shocker, with Shocker using his other gauntlet to defend himself. But that ultimately just caused the gauntlet to get webbed up to a wall, with Spider-Man deciding to knock him out while his gauntlets are acting up. With this working as Spider-Man webs up Shocker and hangs him on a lamppost for the cops to pick him up and take him to jail. Alright, so what did you guys think about that? Let me know in the comments below. And I think that's where I'll end off our discussion for today. So what did you guys think about all the content covered in this introduction video to the Potara Podcast? Let me know in the comments. And if you want to see these projects continue, be sure to like the videos when they come out. Share them with friends who you think may like the videos. Leave a comment with your thoughts or screams of rage, since that really helps the video do better in the YouTube algorithm. And also, subscribe to both this channel and the Vegeta What Ifs channel, since I'm trying to reach at least 500 subscribers by the end of the year on this channel, and 4,000 subscribers on the Vegeta What Ifs channel before the 2-year anniversary on June 21st, and 5,000 subscribers by the end of 2023. And with that, I'll get on out of here. Peace!